Welcome, YouTube friends and family, to today's edition of the Wellness Homesteader, where we are going to pay some much due homage to the common radish. I hope you'll stay tuned. So whether you like radishes or not, I am going to prepare them a couple ways today because I was able to get, y'all look at these beautiful, woo, there goes my ring light, organic radishes. Now, unfortunately, I was not able, don't fall over y'all, to get any organic ones with the greens attached, and mine still haven't, of course, grown yet since we're at April 5th today. But they're planted. So I thought we would start first by fermenting some radishes. Now there are a million ways you can do this. So what I've done is I've used my Young Living fruit and veggie soak just to get them all nice and cleaned up. And I am just going to trim the ends off of each radish. Let me get you down here where you can see. And then you want to slice them relatively thin. And this is for eating or for fermenting, either one. So I realized in my last video, and here are our fermenting carrots. I wanted to just bring them out and show you. I kept saying pickled, and there is a big difference between pickled and fermented. So pickled is where you're using like a vinegar and various spices to actually pickle the vegetable. Fermenting, you do not use vinegar, you use a salt solution and thyme to turn those vegetables into a fermented product that has naturally occurring good microbes or probiotics, if you will, to help your immune system. It helps with so many things. So, are radishes really good for you? Well, let me share some things that I found on the web about the benefits of radishes. So these are claims that I did find about radishes. Actually, my good friend Miss Gay over at Apron Strings, go subscribe to her channel, y'all. She shared several of these with me because we got talking about radishes, and she has a beautiful garden. Y'all would really enjoy her channel. Wonderful lady. So they support your intestinal health, which is very important, y'all, if you're doing the GAPS diet, and you know that's kind of my focus right now. It helps to detoxify heavy metals. And again, these aren't claims I made. This is what I found on the interwebs, if you will. It can help in some people with neurological symptoms that you might have with MS or ALS or some of those diseases. Again, I'm not making that claim. Replenishes your immune system. And y'all, I know that the pandemic as a whole is over, but in counties, not the county I'm in, but then the county next to me, levels are still quite high. So we're not finished with this yet. Anything to help our immune systems, right? It's also anti-pathogen. Some sources said that it would help with killing off if you happen to have any parasites or worms in your intestinal system. It helps your heart, arteries, and vein health. And then finally, it can help restore your kidneys, liver, pancreas, and spleen. So I figure there's every reason to eat a radish. Now, I happen to really love radishes, and last year, radishes really took off in some of the foo-foo recipes. Buttered radishes, you know, where you just take a raw radish and butter it, put salt and pepper on it. Oh my word, that's so good. Might be fattening, but very, very good. But there are so many different types of radishes. So I planted some rainbow, and I also planted just some of the long ones. I forget what they're actually called. But you can use them, you can eat them raw, you can put them in your salad. They're really good in Asian dishes as kind of a crunchy topping. You can pickle, not ferment them, especially with onions, and make like a slaw out of it, add it to salads. It's also really good as a substitute like on tacos too. So there's so many different things that you can do with a radish. So for today, what I'm going to be doing is two things. I am going to be fermenting these radishes. And what I am going to use besides our normal salt brine solution is I'm going to use some of this amazing hot pepper, which I can never remember the name of, nor can I really pronounce it correctly, so it doesn't matter. Garlic. And then when we cook them, we're going to be using some lemon. Now you may be thinking, ugh, I wouldn't eat the radish greens because they're kind of prickly. But guys, when you cook them, it takes away that prickly texture, and it's so full of things that are good for you, vitamins and minerals. So I'm going to continue slicing. Let me show you how thin I'm trying to go. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pack these tightly into my jar. Because, you know, I realized after I did the first video on fermenting, I forgot that this was on sale in the winter. It's the, it's fermenting lids and springs from Ball. They're BPA. It's for a wide mouth vessel. And this is the spring. So you can put it in to your jar to help keep your vegetative material underneath your salt brine solution. And then the lid actually has a vent on it, and this a one-way vent, so it's going to decrease the likelihood that you're going to get mold or a failed batch, but then you don't have to keep unscrewing the lid. When I got to my carrots this morning, I should have done them yesterday. They had built up a lot of fermentation gas, so just be aware of that if you're using a non-vented lid. So let me start layering these in the jar. I will bring you back. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put some radishes in first, you know, like maybe halfway up. I'm going to put the garlic, and for me, I love hot spicy food, so I'm going to use the spicy red pepper. You could use chili flakes. You could use any herb that you want to. I just don't have any fresh on hand, guys. I have freeze dried, but I decided, you know, I'm just going to use that because need me some spicy in my life. Then we'll make the brine, put the lid on, and I will talk to you about what you do from there. It's such a simple process. Then once we finish all that up, we're gonna get to making some roasted radishes that you don't wanna miss. Stay tuned. Okay, here is what I have. If you are using the Ball fermenting kit, make sure that when you put the spring in, it will fit and that you don't have too much product in there. So here I've made up my brine, and again, for every cup of non-chlorinated water, I have put in 2 tablespoons of salt. And I did stir it around, but you know what, let's put just a touch more water in there. All right, lid on. Maybe. There we go. I will write the date with a Sharpie on the jar, and I'm gonna have to keep an eye on that. And I will keep checking it over the next 7 to 14 days and probably tasting to see if it has the fermented taste and smell that I want. So the next thing I'm going to work on here is I'm going to finish slicing up, again thinly, all of these radishes, and then we are going to make a very simple but delicious roasted radish. Stay tuned. Okay, y'all, we're over here at the stove, and what I've done is I have an oven-proof skillet here that I am heating some oil until it is shimmering, and it's 2 tablespoons of olive oil. The original measurement for the radishes was about 2 small bunches. I don't know. This is such an easy recipe that I don't think it's going to be a problem. So what you want to do is add your well-washed and thinly sliced radishes to your pan. And if you can find the greens, don't throw them away, y'all, because this actually encourages you to stir fry after we get it out of the oven, stir fry and roast those radish tops. I'll get it out. So what we're going to do here is we're just going to season these with some salt and pepper. And again, I'm going to use the pink Himalayan and just some freshly ground pepper. And you can do this to taste. It doesn't have any measurements. And I'm sure you could put other things in it, but I have to tell you, I love the pure taste of a roasted radish. So what you want to do is just kind of stir fry cook these until they're browned in spots. It says about 2 minutes. I think it kind of depends on your cooktop, the diameter of your skillet. So we're just going to cook them a little bit. Now, I do have my oven preheating. It says preheat to 500. Y'all, Cindy is a hot girl. So I have done some things on 500 and I don't like the outcome. So I have mine on 475, just full disclosure. So it's going to take a few minutes for that to get hot, but that'll give us an opportunity to get these lightly browned. And the only other ingredient this recipe calls for is butter. And so once we get them roasted in the oven, we're going to finish them on top of the stove. I'm sorry if this is too loud for y'all to hear me. I try to speak up, but I have a really soft voice. And some lemon. You need a lemon. So that will just give some brightness of flavor. These are so good, guys. And so good for you. Now, if you're concerned about fat, you could probably cut it back slightly. But if you really want some yummy caramelized vegetables, you do need some fat. And olive oil being permitted on the GAPS diet, I am definitely going to use the olive oil. I keep checking outside, y'all. It's been raining a little bit, but we are about to get slammed, it looks like. So I hope all of you that were in Illinois and Iowa last night, I saw that there was some storm damage. I hope you all are okay. So we're starting to get some browning on the oil. So I'm going to call this, I'm going to turn off the heat. My oven is not quite yet even to 370, so it's going to take a few minutes. But when it's done heating, I'm going to put it in the oven for about 15 minutes. And then I'll bring you back and we'll get these finished up and do a taste test. Stay tuned. Gorgeous and caramelized radishes are out of the oven. Some are more caramelized than others. You know, you could leave it longer, but I think this is absolutely perfect. So I've turned my stove back on like a medium heat. And the next thing that it calls for is 2 tablespoons of butter. So we're gonna do that. I'm gonna go a little slight on it. And you would add your greens in now, and you would continue to stir until it's wilted. But since we don't have the greens, we're gonna go with our 2 tablespoons of freshly squeezed lemon juice, and that's gonna give it a real brightness of flavor. I'm kind of excited about this, y'all. So, I failed to tell you all this. Some days are better than others, guys. Although my mind does seem to be back a little bit better than it was a week ago. Let's say you don't like radishes. You like the health benefits, but you're not super crazy about the actual taste of a radish, or maybe they're too bitey or spicy. Guys, there are millions of kinds of radishes. If you want to feel like a gardener, get yourself a pot and some potting soil and plant you some radish seeds. Now, they like cooler weather, so you know, you might have to put them in the shade, but spring is a perfect time to grow radishes, and fall. There are hundreds of types of radishes with all different flavor profiles, but what I can tell you about roasting them like we've done today completely changes the game. They no longer have the same radish flavor. We're going to do a taste test here, and I'm going to try to tell you, and turn this up just a little bit because I would like to reduce that lemon juice into the actual radishes. And I'm going to tell you what it looks like, but you can see the color has changed. It's kind of a watermelon color now instead of that bright red. I'm kind of regretting that I didn't buy more interesting varieties of radishes, but I do have some good ones coming up here. And I would like to have some of the watermelon radishes too as well. So we'll see what we can find locally. I did notice when I was at Aldi, they had seeds for 59 cents, and I did buy a couple packs. Y'all, I'm not on here to criticize, a company, but I have less than a 50% germination rate with Baker Creek across the board. I thought maybe last year was a fluke. I'm having the same issue this year. So let me just share with you. I will do the majority of my seed buying elsewhere, and that's just a me thing. It may work great for you and your climate, your soil, whatsoever. Okay, we're getting some good reduction here. All right, let me reposition the camera and we'll have a taste test. So here's what they look like. They're almost like a watermelon or a light color strawberry. Ooh, hot too. Y'all, I did not do the second salt. It said to salt and I was afraid it would be too salty. You need a little bit of salt. These taste like a dish of heaven. Not like a radish. I would say it's a cross between a cabbage-ish flavor and a potato. So if you are limiting your starches, consider the lowly radish, because I think it is a great option. Has a nice chew, very satisfying. I'm going to keep on the hunt. It won't be long until Piper's orchard will be open, and if my own radishes aren't ready, but they should be actually pretty soon, start to come up and such, I may do a batch with the greens and share that with you in a salad, or maybe do a quick pickle with some onions. So I think, y'all, your response has been so amazing to this little change. One of my worries was, I've always done a lot of cooking on my channel, especially when there isn't homesteading type things to do or craft type things to do. And y'all, right now, I'm trying to get the mental space to feel like doing crafts again. But at any rate, I thought, oh no, is this gonna totally ruin my channel? But so many of you, you've been very gracious, you always are saying, wow, I'd like to try this. Wow, I don't know anything about fermenting, or I try to restrict my gluten. And one of you souls, I love you, told me about King Arthur 1-for-1 gluten-free flour, which is on order. It'll be here tomorrow. So I did go on out. Let me share with you kind of what I'm doing here. I'm making myself my own cookbook. I'm not gonna buy a cookbook, guys, because there is such a plethora of great recipes out there, whether you're trying to limit sugar or starches or carbohydrates or gluten, whatever the case may be. I'm old school, where you went to the library and dug through the card catalog and found the book, right? It's out there. I'm not ready to order a cookbook because there are more recipes out there than I will ever get to. So I made myself a notebook, just, like a ratty old notebook. And I put in the GAPS diet, so I would always have that list of things I'm not supposed to eat. Made a section for tried and true recipes, so our almond flour blueberry muffins, recipes to try, so things that I'm printing off. Then I put a section in here for notes and substitutions, because I'm all into the research about, okay, how do you take a regular recipe and convert it to gluten-free so I can still eat the things that I love, and maybe share some recipes with you that you hadn't thought of if you're trying to eat gluten-free, or if you just want to try it. You know, it's not going to hurt you, that's for sure. So I was just out on King Arthur's baking website, and I looked under their gluten-free recipes, and they have gluten-free whole grain banana muffins. Now, what I will say, guys, they are not sugar-free, but I know already how to substitute maple syrup or honey or even stevia and still have a product come out. Gluten-free lemon bliss cake. Yeah, look at this. Look at this one. Yeah. And I do really enjoy lemon. Gluten-free soft chocolate chip cookies. I thought, you know, if I was going to bake something for my mom's birthday, those are two ideas. Her birthday's not until August. Gluten-free Neapolitan style pizza crust and gluten-free sandwich bread. Now, there are a few things like xanthan gum that I don't have, so, you know, I'll be looking into it. So I hope today's video has been a little bit of fun. I want me some more radishes. You know what, y'all? You almost get a little bit of a turnip taste. They are so good. You cannot go wrong with this recipe. So would you do me a big favor, guys? Go ahead and smash that like button. If you know someone who has just started on a gluten-free journey that any of these videos would benefit, do me a favor and share my video. Y'all, we are up to 3,959 subscribers this morning. We're gonna make it to our 4,000. We are. And then we'll go on to 5. But we have such a nice community, and my goal isn't to be the biggest YouTuber ever. It's just to bring content that's beneficial to all of you who give your valuable time to me. So I appreciate each and every one of you. Stay safe in these storms. And until I see you again, be healthy, be well, be blessed. Take care.